Now at 9, Kansas state leaders react after Ascension Via Christi announces it's closing its emergency room in Fort Scott.
We're talking with locals in Galena about what it took for them to put on their Halloween this year. I'm Anthony Savio.
The Boots Court Motel has a new addition, a visitor center.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tanya Bach. Ascension Via Christi announces the end of operations for its emergency room in Fort Scott, Kansas. It's a move that's drawing criticism from state leaders. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to community members about the decision.
What are we going to do if you had something bad and you needed somebody to take you up there? There's nothing.
On December 20th, Ascension Via Christi's emergency department in Fort Scott will close. According to a statement, the emergency department has seen a steady decline in visits, combined with economic challenges, a multidisciplinary team determined to close the ER.
The ER is different than just a hospital to drive for a treatment, so it's for emergency care. That's what we need.
After hearing about the closure of the last emergency room in Fort Scott, many community members say that this is just a hindrance when it comes to rural healthcare accessibility.
I think we're such a small town that you're never going to get the kind of medical attention that you can get in a larger town.
After the emergency department closes, the next closest in-state ER is in Pittsburgh, a 34-mile drive. Out of state is 20 miles to the emergency room at Nevada, Missouri Regional Medical Center.
I think it was doing all right. I mean, I used to work at the hospital. And I always thought it was doing pretty good, but I guess it wasn't.
Kansas Governor Laura Kelly, who just wrapped up a 6-week state tour rallying for Medicaid expansion, is criticizing the closure, saying in part, now even in emergencies, they have one less place to turn, threatening their health and safety. Reporting in Fort Scott, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Well, after this closure, there will not be an emergency room in Bourbon County. Mercy closed its hospital in Fort Scott nearly 5 years ago. Residents in Newton County are suing the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. It stems from the spilling of 6,000 gallons of slaughterhouse waste into a ditch and a field near Fairview. Arkansas-based Denali Water Solutions was transporting the waste. The lawsuit asked the department to require Denali to cease any and all activities and operations at any facility it uses to store waste. And authorities in Newton County arrest 2 people after searching a Neosho home for drugs. This following a 3-month-long investigation of the property at 417 South Washington. 2 women, one 34 and the other 24 years old, were arrested on active warrants. A stolen vehicle was also recovered at the property. Official charges from this case are still pending. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a cold Halloween. Temperatures again only up to 43 during the afternoon, 25 degrees to start this morning, well below our averages for this time of the year. In fact, we should be starting at 43, not ending up at 43. 65 is our average high for this time of the year. We're dropping back now 20s to near 30. At least it's dry, but it's getting cold. 27 in Nevada, 32 in Neosho, 32 in Welch. Parsons sitting at 26 degrees. Now, a little bit breezy for us today. Those northerly winds, they're calming down a little bit, but they're going to switch out of the south and pick up once again as we go into the daytime hours for us tomorrow. But clear skies, we'll see clear skies tonight. Cold, we drop back to 22, back to 33 by 10 a.m. We do see a little bit of a warming trend over the next few days, so we're going to be discussing that here in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Businesses in downtown Nevada, Missouri got into the Halloween spirit with a Safe Treats Parade. For a couple of hours this afternoon, businesses passed out candy to kids trick-or-treating around the square. Officials say it provides a safe and fun way to get some trick-or-treating in and for the kids to show off their costumes.
I am a scary clown.
And whose idea was it to be a scary clown?
Mine.
Why did you want to be a scary clown?
Because I just wanted to.
And what about your scary clown outfit is your favorite?
I like the bow tie.
You like the bow tie? Why is the bow tie your favorite?
Because I just like it.
I like the bow tie too. Participating businesses had signs in their windows to show they'd be passing out candy. Well, spending for Halloween is at an all-time high. The latest projections show consumers could have spent more than $12 billion this year. KOAM's Anthony Saviello spoke with community members to see how they are handling the spike in cost.
The spooky season has always been filled with the joy of dressing up and the consuming of enough candy to scare off the dentist. But the typical spooks, scares, and fun time with family that have always come with Halloween now cost more than ever.
Definitely things are costing more. The feed for the animals is all more expensive, and it seems like it just keeps going up and up and up.
According to the National Retail Federation, consumers spent on average $108 per person this year. However, there are some who are finding a way to cut the cost. Figuratively, that is.
It wasn't everything I had in my home.
Really?
So I just brought it in and put it on the flatbed here, and it set it up in about 15 minutes.
So not much as far as cost. Didn't really cost you a whole lot.
We got the hay bales from the farm and corn stalks from the neighbor, and the candy's about the only thing that cost me.
Despite the cost and despite the cold, the joy Halloween brings to kids in the community makes everything worthwhile.
It is to me because I like seeing the kids. I'm a substitute teacher, so I know a lot of them, and when they run up and say, "Oh, Miss Miller," I like that. I like being a part of the community. I like seeing the kids happy.
So, whether you're buying a costume for you and your dog, or decking out an entire bus, chances are you're spending more this year than you did last year. Reporting in Galena, I'm Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Well, the National Retail Federation says the three biggest costs on Halloween are costumes, decorations, and candy, each of which ran consumers over $3.5 billion this year. Well, the Boots Court Motel has a new addition, a visitor center. Most recognize the iconic neon lights on the historic motel. It took more than a decade of restoration work to return it to its original 1939 look and to reopen all 13 rooms to the public. Now, the final piece was to restore the old Sinclair gas station next door. The Boots Court Foundation had it ready just in time for this year's Maple Leaf celebration. Boots manager Jeremy Morris says the official grand opening will happen later this spring.
This was the old Sinclair gas station, and we thought, well, this would be a good office, place for merchandise, a store, kind of a meeting space, event space. We have big plans for this space. We're going to add a lot in the next few months.
Well, if you book a room at the Boots Court Motel, you may not be alone. Later in the show, I sit down with a paranormal expert to learn the stories behind and the hauntings still happening at the Boots Court Motel. Coming up later in the show, a heartfelt reunion between two sisters separated by war. But first, why dentists say you should not feel guilty after a day's worth of your kids eating candy. A Kansas judge says the state cannot enforce a new law on abortion pills or make patients wait 24 hours to end a pregnancy. The now blocked law required abortion providers to tell their patients that a medication abortion can be stopped using a regimen touted by anti-abortion groups. Major medical groups consider the regimen ineffective and potentially unsafe. In his ruling, the judge says abortion providers gave credible evidence the information doctors are required to provide is medically inaccurate and inconsistent with generally accepted science. The U.S. Department of Defense today honored one of our local hospitals. 2 employees of Mercy Hospital in Joplin received the Patriot Award for extraordinary support of employees who serve in the National Guard and Reserves. Those 2 employees are Mike Coleman, Manager of Facilities Maintenance and Operations Supervisor Chris Butler, the Regional Director of Facilities Maintenance and Operations.
For me, it's just I'm just doing my job, making sure that we take care of those who are taking care of us. So I very much appreciate the honor, but I feel like we're just doing what we're supposed to do.
Butler and Coleman were nominated by the hospital's Energy Center operator, Terry Devins. Devins himself serves in the Missouri National Guard. Well, Halloween is finally here, and fear in spooky things is something we enjoy, at least according to some health experts. Dr. Susan Albers, a psychologist with the Cleveland Clinic, says fear affects the brain in many ways, including making people more focused and alert. But for those who love scary things like Halloween, ghost tours, scary movies, or haunted houses, it can also release dopamine, which is a reward and pleasure transmitter in the brain. Dr. Albers says scary things also help us feel accomplished in overcoming our comfort zones safely. But she warns, know the limits of your fright and fear responses. And with kids, watch what they're exposed to because they often don't distinguish between real and imaginary situations. Well, you can't have Halloween without buckets of candy. At least that's what your kiddos will argue. Pediatric dentists say parents should not feel guilty after a day's worth of their kids eating candy, as long as it's not a frequent habit. One recommendation, add some sugar-free gum into your child's trick-or-treat bag. Chewing produces saliva, which helps clean teeth, rebuild enamel, and reduce cravings for more sugary snacks. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your spooky forecast. And later we go underground and behind the scenes of the historic and haunted Carthage Boots Court Motel.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another chilly one for us today. So we wrap up the month of October on the cold side. But if we look at October as a whole, 2/3 of the month was actually above normal. We had 20 days above 11, which were below. But the past 4 days have been only into the 40s of 4 highs. We're going to still be below normal over the next 2 days. So we're going to have a 6-day stretch across the region. Outside right now, nice shot. Downtown Joplin. This is our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Tower Cam. We are looking off toward the north and to the east. Looks pretty good. It's cold, but we have clear skies. Lows this morning, mid-20s. And then as we got through the day, we did get up into lower 40s for highs. And then, of course, now we are starting to drop back. Stockton 28, 31, Neosho 31, and Bonita. Chanute is sitting at 26 degrees, and our temperatures will continue to fall tonight, eventually down to 22. We'll start at 23 at 7. We'll have sunshine back to about 33 by the time we head into mid-morning hours. Clear skies. We're going to see clear skies as we go through the overnight hours tonight. One little system ripping across the Great Lakes, heading away from us. And if you look out toward the west, there's not a whole bunch going on. That's kind of our weather as we go through the next several days. Not a whole bunch is going on, and we're not going to see much over the next few days. But we are going to start to see a slow warming trend, which is good. All right, cold start, 20, 21, 22 degrees. Notice the winds switch out of the south. Southerly winds helps us warm up a little bit more tomorrow. Lower 40s by noon. I think most of us push 50, about 48 Stockton, 48 in Anderson, 47 in Fort Scott. So cold or chilly, but better than what we have seen. A few clouds pass through tomorrow night, drop back near freezing. As we go into Thursday afternoon, temperatures, they'll get into the upper 50s for highs. So we're at least heading in the right direction as we go through the next few days. And then by Thursday night, not as cool as we finally have a night that we stay above freezing, which is going to be nice to see. All right, day planner for you tomorrow, 9 a.m., 28, up to 44 by 1, up to 48 by 5 p.m. The winds are going to pick up a little bit. We're going to have southerly winds kind of gusting upwards of about 20 tomorrow, and it stays breezy tomorrow night into Thursday. But in return, again, that warms us up over the next few days. In fact, by Friday, we're back into the 60s. By Saturday, we're pressing 70 by Saturday afternoon. 49 tomorrow, 57 on Thursday, 64 on Friday. Near 70 on Saturday. We do gain an extra hour's sleep Saturday night as your clocks drop back an hour, but on Sunday, high temp 73. The sun will start to set at 6 p.m., which kind of stinks.
We have a couple more chilly nights before this warm up.
We do.
Though.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Gotta watch those plants still.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up, protecting your retirement savings.
President Biden wants retirees to have more money in their pockets. I'm Rebecca Castor in Washington. His plan to make this happen coming up.
President Biden directs his attention to older voters today and protecting their retirement savings. The White House is proposing new regulations they say will keep more money in workers' pockets. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more from Washington.
President Biden is cracking down on junk fees, hurting Americans' retirement savings.
People should be able to trust that when they get advice from a so-called expert, they're getting real help, not getting ripped off.
The Labor Department's proposed rule protects workers from expensive advice when rolling over savings from a workplace 401k to an IRA. It ensures financial advisors are acting in the best interest of the saver over personal profits.
I just want you to know we're watching.
This is another key step in our work to promote competition under Bidenomics to put money back in the pockets of hardworking families.
But this may be scarce consolation for boomers who are still struggling to get their 401k balance back to pre-COVID levels. According to Fidelity, the average boomer's 401k balance was $220,900 in June, nearly $30,000 less than what they had saved at the end of 2021.
3 years ago, if you had been aiming for retirement savings of, let's say, $500,000. In today's climate with higher prices, you need more like $600,000. In 3 years, you need another $100,000 to have the same purchasing power. So inflation has very much eaten away at people's savings.
But critics of the proposal say regulating the retirement market could do more harm than good, and some firms could start limiting the advice they give to investors. Inflation and the economy as a whole are huge issues to voters in the 2024 campaign, and that's led the Biden White House to crack down on junk fees in other industries too, like banking, rental housing, and concert tickets. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Toyota announces it's investing an additional $8 billion in a U.S.-based battery plant. That brings Toyota's total investment in the North Carolina plant to $13.9 billion and 5,000 new jobs. The plant, currently under construction, will manufacture batteries for electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. Toyota says the plant should be up and running by 2025. Where you can go to find your next ex. Up next, Elon Musk's plans for a dating app. Love could be in the air soon for ex-users. According to a report, billionaire Elon Musk wants to turn the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, into a dating app. Musk bought the platform a year ago and has previously stated he hopes to transform it into an everything app. During a company meeting celebrating the one-year anniversary, Musk reportedly stated he has plans to make X a fully fledged dating site in 2024. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. The latest battle in Congress to bundle funding for Israel and Ukraine, plus a reunion in the 4 states. A sister fleeing from the terrors of war joins her twin in Joplin.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A Joplin woman says she couldn't be happier with her new house guest. Renat Nielsen's twin sister, who lives in Israel, arrived at the Springfield airport last night, leaving behind the terrors of the Israel-Hamas war. Now, some of you might recall their story we brought you earlier this month. Originally from Israel and having relocated to the United States 2 decades ago, Nielsen witnessed the daily consequences of the conflict through the lens of her twin sister, Arella. But now another chapter is starting in their lives. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has their story.
Hi there. I can't wait. Time isn't moving fast enough, said the message Renat Nielsen sent to us on Monday afternoon. Her anxiety lasted all day.
Wow, yeah, the day moved very slow, very, very slow. I will not believe it until I actually see her here.
It was almost 11 Monday night when Joplin resident could believe it.
Is it real? I have to touch her, you know, I have to see if she's real. It took me a moment to realize she's here, she's safe, she's with me. I felt like she's with me, I can protect her.
The 1-minute-long hug had tears of relief. Just days ago, Arella was in Israel, amid the ongoing war in a house without a safe room.
It was only because they started to launch missiles now over Judea and Samaria, and since I don't have a safe room, I can't stay there.
After 30 hours of traveling, she finally feels safe. But the relief comes with fear.
I'm sad because my daughters didn't want to come. And I'm always thinking about them when they're home now, and we just got a red alert for them, and so I know, but everyone makes their own decision, you know.
The hope now is for less stressful days next to her twin sister.
I'm sure she slept well without waking up to, to sirens and rockets flying over.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here and to have some quiet time and to relax the mind and everything.
And for safety for loved ones still in Israel. In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
And Arella says she plans to stay at her sister's house for several weeks. Israel's military says it raided about 300 targets in Gaza over the last 24 hours, including tunnel openings and military compounds belonging to Hamas. Israeli airstrikes pounded a refugee camp near Gaza City, leveling apartment buildings while Israeli troops on the ground battle Hamas militants. Israel Defense Forces also said it killed the Hamas commander who directed the massacres at 2 Israeli communities on October 7th. Well, the Biden administration wants to combine financial assistance for Israel and Ukraine into a $106 billion package. There is significant resistance in Congress, primarily from House Republicans. Fox News senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram has more from Capitol Hill.
6 interruptions.
Ceasefire now.
12 arrests of anti-Israel demonstrators.
Stop the war! Ceasefire now!
As the president's foreign policy team emphasized the need to aid both Ukraine and Israel.
The elements of this request work together as a package.
I can guarantee you, without our support, Putin will be successful.
Many Republicans prefer ditching Ukraine money, boosting only Israel. House Speaker Mike Johnson crafted a $14 billion aid plan just for Israel. It's paid for by diverting money from the IRS.
Standing with Israel and protecting the innocent over there is in our national interest and is a more immediate need than IRS agents.
Some Republicans embrace the Speaker's approach.
We're not going to browbeat the House of Representatives to doing it the way we want.
But Democrats torched Johnson's bill for Israel.
I mean, I'm really disturbed that the House is playing political games, and the House is debating a measure that they know is dead on arrival in the United States Senate.
Republicans are fighting one another about Ukraine. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is the biggest GOP champion for Ukrainian assistance.
The threats facing America and our allies are serious, and they're intertwined. If we ignore that fact, we do so at our own peril.
But Rand Paul accused McConnell of trying to undercut Johnson.
The Speaker could perhaps be toppled again by something like this.
I think it's notable that he's standing with Schumer over against the Republicans.
McConnell says he and Schumer agree on helping Ukraine and Israel, but McConnell wants the bill to include border security. The House votes Thursday on Johnson's bill. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Well, if you're looking for a place to rest your kicks on Route 66, you could always book a room at the Boots Court Motel, but beware, you may not be alone. Still to come, we learned the stories behind the hauntings at the historic Route 66 Motel.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another chilly one for us today. So we wrap up the month of October on the cold side. But if we look at October as a whole, 2/3 of the month was actually above normal. We had 20 days above 11, which were below. But the past 4 days have been only into the 40s of 4 highs. We're going to still be below normal over the next 2 days. So we're going to have a 6-day stretch across the region. Outside right now, nice shot, downtown Joplin. This is our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Tower Cam. We are looking off toward the north and to the east. Looks pretty good. It's cold, but we have clear skies. Lows this morning, mid-20s, And then as we got through the day, we did get up into lower 40s for highs. And then, of course, now we are starting to drop back. Stockton 28, 31, Neosho 31, and Bonita. Chanute is sitting at 26 degrees, and our temperatures will continue to fall tonight, eventually down to 22. We'll start at 23 at 7. We'll have sunshine back to about 33 by the time we head into mid-morning hours. Clear skies. We're going to see clear skies as we go through the overnight hours tonight. One little system ripping across the Great Lakes, heading away from us. And if you look out toward the west, there's not a whole bunch going on. That's kind of our weather as we go through the next several days. Not a whole bunch is going on, and we're not going to see much over the next few days, but we are going to start to see a slow warming trend, which is good. All right, cold start, 20, 21, 22 degrees. Notice the winds switch out of the south. Southerly winds helps us warm up a little bit more tomorrow. Lower 40s by noon. I think most of us push 50, about 48 Stockton, 48 in Anderson, 47 in Fort Scott. So cold or chilly, but better than what we have seen. A few clouds pass through tomorrow night, drop back near freezing. As we go into Thursday afternoon, temperatures, they'll get into the upper 50s for highs. So we're at least heading in the right direction as we go through the next few days. And then by Thursday night, not as cool as we finally have a night that we stay above freezing, which is going to be nice to see. All right, day planner for you tomorrow, 9 a.m., 28, up to 44 by 1, up to 48 by 5 p.m. The winds are going to pick up a little bit. We're going to have southerly winds kind of gusting upwards of about 20 tomorrow, and it stays breezy tomorrow night into Thursday. But in return, again, that warms us up over the next few days. In fact, by Friday, we're back into the 60s. By Saturday, we're pressing 70 by Saturday afternoon. 49 tomorrow, 57 on Thursday, 64 on Friday. Near 70 on Saturday. We do gain an extra hour's sleep Saturday night as your clocks drop back an hour, but on Sunday, high temp at 73. The sun will start to set at 6 p.m., which kind of stinks.
We have a couple more chilly nights before this warm-up.
We do.
Though.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Yeah, watch those plants still.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Doug. Coming up in sports, district playoffs begin for several local soccer teams. And Missouri Southern Volleyball hosts the top team in the MIAA. John Dales has those stories and more up next in sports.
The postseason is quickly approaching for college volleyball. We're just 2.5 weeks away from the 2023 MIAA volleyball tournament. And Missouri Southern has a big home match tonight against the top team in the conference. MSSU at home against 23rd ranked Central Missouri tonight. Lions win the first point of the first set and the second one right here as Fernanda Canedo gets the kill. However, this is a UCM team that swept the Lions back in early October. The Jennies showing they're just as good now as they were back then. Kirsty Nix gets the kill here. UCM takes the first set, 25-15. Lions take the second, but in the third, more of the same as they go back around. First, the save keeps the point alive. Then this kill again. That's Nix. Makes it 25-16 in the third set. UCM wins it. Missouri Southern trying to mount a comeback in the fourth, but Olivia Olson says no. She gets the block here. Jennies win the fourth set and win on the road 3-1. Lions fall to 6-11 in conference play. Better news for Pitt State volleyball, though. The Gorillas win at home in 5 sets tonight against William Jewell. The Gorillas fell in the first set before winning the next 2, then dropped the fourth. Things looked a little bit shaky in the fifth with PSU trailing 10-6, but the Gorillas win 11 of the final 16 points to get the victory. It's make or break time for boys high school soccer. We're into district playoffs in Southwest Missouri, and the Class 3 District 6 tournament features 3 local schools all playing in the quarterfinals today. In the first of 4 quarterfinals, played at Branson this afternoon into this evening, the top seed, Webb City, rolls to a 4-0 win. Cardinals are the top seed in the district. They'll play again on Thursday evening in the semifinals. In another quarterfinal, Carl Junction falls to Willard 5-1. These two had met a week ago in Willard. CJ won that game 3-1, but the Tigers get the best of them when it counts most. The loss ends the Bulldogs' season. They finished the year with a record of 10-12. Webb City will see Willard on Thursday. McDonald County also falls this evening. The Mustangs lose in the quarterfinals to Branson 2-1. Miguel Mora scores the lone goal of the evening for McDonald County. Mustangs kept it close, but the Pirates advance on to the semifinals. And the postseason getting closer and closer for college football as well. This evening, the Division I College Football Playoff Committee releases its first set of top 25 rankings on the season. Here they are on your screen right now. A few surprises compared to the coaches and AP top 25s. First, Ohio State holding the number 1 spot. Georgia, two-time defending national champs at 2, but the Buckeyes have 2 top 15 wins over Notre Dame and Penn State on their resume. Michigan at 3, then Florida State at 4. That's all for sports. Back with more news after this.
The Boots Court Motel in Carthage, Missouri takes in visitors from all over the world, many of them traveling Route 66. But as I recently discovered, there are some rooms in the motel where you're not alone.
Arthur thought it very important to include a radio in every room. This is the height of, kind of the radio age, pre-TV, pre-television.
The age of radio and automobiles. In 1939, Arthur Boots opened the Boots Court Motel in Carthage, Missouri, on the crossroads of Route 66 and the Jefferson Highway. The historic motel changed hands many times over the years, but is now run by Jeremy Morris and the Boots Court Foundation.
Every room is open. All 13 rooms are available to rent for the first time in probably decades.
While this isn't the Bates Motel, and you won't find Norman lurking outside your shower, the Boots Court Motel has its own stories and its own hauntings.
Stories about famous guests like Mickey Mantle, Gene Autry, and Clark Gable.
So he came through and stayed, and he was passing on through Route 66 to different small towns selling war bonds.
And frankly, my dear, the Gone with the Wind star must have enjoyed his 1942 stay so much he returned in 47, this time staying in the infamous room number 10.
If I get a call in the middle of the night, I guarantee you it's going to be room 10. If there's lights flickering, if a smoke alarm goes off, if there's a faucet that just comes apart and spews water, it's going to be room 10. It's always the Clark Gable room.
We don't know for sure, and it might be someone else, but this is a room that people are often interested in being in because of the Clark Gable connection, and it happens to be one that has a lot of activity.
Paranormal expert Lisa Martin took us to another room that's been, well, active.
I'm getting tingling in my sinuses. He shared the experience with us just a couple weeks ago of staying in this room, seeing a shadow man standing and walking over and sitting on the edge of the bed.
A darkness that's often witnessed in the tunnel room beneath the motel.
12, 14, the Neelys were a little superstitious. There's no 13. So I consider the tunnel room 13.
The underground tunnel runs from the front office all the way to the back basement. Morris says Arthur Boots dug it out as an attempt to filter cool air into the rooms. His plan didn't work.
But we have a nice tunnel out of it, and it's got Carthage stone, so Carthage marble lines each wall.
More than 8 decades later, the Boots Court continues to attract tourists from all over the world, looking to book a stay at the motel with a radio in every room.
Interesting note about Clark Gable's visit. The desk in room 10 is the same desk he signed autographs at during his second visit to the Boots Court in 1947. Well, it was a night of murder and mayhem in Fort Scott. The Fort Scott National Historic Site held candle lantern walking tours this evening, detailing specific tragedies and events that happened at the fort in the 19th century.
So I want you to be able to open up and step back in time and feel what it was like in the fort, because if you were stationed here in the 1840s, 1850s, even 1860s, wool is your friend.
And there were 4 tours today, each one lasting 30 minutes. Well, stick around. When we return, a 2-year-old experiences her first brush with the law. It's pretty hard to operate a motor vehicle when you're 14 years too young to have a license. At least the police went easy on this toddler, since her car is probably powered by diesel batteries. Jeannie Moose has the story.
You know that sinking feeling when you notice flashing lights in the rear view?
Hey, look behind you!
Well, maybe it's not quite so sinking when the driver's only 2. What did you say to her when you got out of the car?
Asked her if she had a driver's license. At that point, she had her mouth full of toothbrush, so she wasn't too interested in talking.
Yup, that's a toothbrush in Rose Fern's mouth. The siren noise was added later so as not to scare Rose. Okarche, Oklahoma has a population of about 1,200 residents, but after this video posted by Police Chief Forrest Smith went viral, well, thanks to Rose, the world now knows Okarche.
She got pretty famous overnight.
Relatives called the chief to come watch Rose test drive the pink convertible she got for her birthday. You didn't even give her a ticket for BWD, brushing while driving?
I'm sure most parents would be excited for their kid to be brushing their teeth while driving.
She's starting young with her first brush with the law.
Hope she doesn't hurt herself. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of animals at the Milwaukee Zoo enjoying their Halloween in the snow. Have a great Halloween night and an even better tomorrow.